Hey, I'm Kayla. I've worked in healthcare for 20 years. I've been a registered respiratory therapist for over 10 years now, and I've developed a company called Cloud Respiration. This company has a platform that is meant to help connect CPAP and BiPAP users worldwide, but also to help the patients that are trying to acclimate and get comfortable with these therapies at home. I really have recognized that there's a huge deficit in the support that DME companies are providing, so that's kind of where I come in. Today, I'm going to teach you about humidity management. If you're wearing a mask and you find that you are having a lot of dryness, stuffiness, kind of irritation in that airway, I'm going to teach you how to manage that. When you use CPAP or BiPAP, your natural humidification device, which is your nose, is bypassed. So when you're using your PAP device, this is literally your nose, and that's why it's important to keep this puppy nice and clean. When you wake up in the morning, take this over to your sink, rinse it under some water, stand it up, and let it air dry. When you come back to bed, fill it with that distilled water up to the line that's indicated, close it, pop it in line, and you're good to go. Once a week, give that puppy a good scrub with a mild detergent. If you want to do some disinfection, perfect. You can also do that. Soak it, 9 parts water, 1 part vinegar, and it'll provide that disinfection process for you. Typically, commercial insurances will replace your humidifier chamber every 6 months for you. Will it last longer than that? Absolutely, especially if you take good care of it. So at Cozy Cloud, we recommend that you change supplies out as you see that your sleep is affected, or like with your humidifier chamber, if you start to see that scaling or you have anything that's nasty in there, then it's time to change it out for sure. Otherwise, let's talk about that humidity management. So when we are talking about humidity, most machines, when they come set, they have an auto climate setting that's already on and activated, okay? That auto setting is going to maintain about 85% relative humidity for you. So what does that mean? Your machine takes 3 different temperatures into consideration, okay? You have that little hot plate that sits underneath of your humidifier chamber, and when you're running at that auto setting, it's going to run right about 80 degrees. So that's the first temperature that it takes into consideration. The next temperature that it takes into consideration is the temperature of your tubing. Your tubing is also going to be set right about 80 degrees. The third temperature that your machine is going to take into consideration is your ambient temperature. Your ambient temperature is the temperature of your room. So if you remember in science class, condensation occurs when hot meets cold. So if you have your machine running on those auto settings, but you like to be really cold when you sleep, if you have a fan or you have a breeze blowing on your machine, that can make it really hard for your machine to maintain those temperatures. So if you end up having any type of like condensation collecting in your mask or in your tubing, we call that Rainout. And flipping your device into a manual setting for humidity will help you to take care of that issue. When you are working with different devices, kind of all of their settings are a little bit different. But overall, when you're thinking of humidity, this is how I want you to break it down, okay? When we're talking about the level of humidity, most manufacturers are going to give you the option of anywhere between 0 to 8. 0, that hot plate is not functioning, and this is only simply working as an air pathway. You don't have to put water in it. When you're running in that auto setting, it puts it smack dab in the middle. So it would be set at like a 4, okay? If you want to have more humidity, that's when you're going to increase that level. Anytime you make changes, I'm going to suggest that you make changes by only 1 point, sleep it off, and reevaluate the next day. What most people don't understand is when you start to increase those humidity temperatures, what you have to do is you have to stair step the increases between the humidity plate and the tubing temp. So when you're thinking about humidity, if you're looking at the humidity level, if you want your air to be more dense and more humidified, I want you to think, let's bump up that humidifier. If that air starts to feel like it's rainforest air and it is hard to inhale because it's just really muggy, you want to decrease that humidity level, okay? Going into our tubing temp. If you think about tubing temp, think about it this way. The air that you are inhaling, if you are a warm sleeper and you want to have cooler temperatures, you want to bring that tubing temp down. So, great example. I'm a cool sleeper. I don't like to be warm. When I'm running on those auto settings, it just makes me feel really muggy. So I run my humidity on a level 3 and I run my tubing temp on 76 degrees. When it starts to get hotter, then I'll drop it down. I would drop my level from 3 to 2 and then sleep it off and reevaluate. If I wanted a little less, that's when I would go to that tubing temp and I would drop it from 76 to 74. So you're going to kind of just make those small adjustments. Remember, CPAP is not like right out of the gate. You kind of have to figure out how to tailor those settings to get exactly what you want and make you comfortable. But if you need support doing that and helping you understand, let me know. I'll be here for you.